Hello, this is Berhane Selassie, the Orthodox Catholic One here on YouTube, and today's video will be about the Church of Scientology, and generally about Scientology, its founder, and why a Catholic, or any Christian for that matter, or really pretty much any person, could never really be a Scientologist, but especially if you're a Christian. Now, I did visit some of their buildings. I visited the Museum of L. Ron Hubbard, and I also visited their strange, bizarro Citizens Commission of Museum of Psychiatry, an industry of death, as they call it. But anyway, Scientology is a very deceptive so-called religion, especially to potential converts. Many classify it as a cult. That generally only appeals to celebrities, artists, and along those lines, and they have very deceptive means of trying to get you into the religion. So as to ease the conversion process, they will inform you that you can keep your current religion. For instance, if you're a Catholic, you can stay Catholic, and also be a Scientologist. You can join Scientology without leaving your previous religion. This is somewhat deceptive. So anyway, recently I went to those tour, and one of the tour guides informed me that there is a Baptist minister who was a Scientologist. This is obviously to make adopting Scientology seem harmless with no risk. I should also mention that the minister they mentioned claimed to be somewhere around South LA, around Compton, around there, I think. Just like many churches in Los Angeles, they may have liberal leanings, just like there are Baptist churches in LA, at least one that's part of the SBC, Southern Baptist Convention, that recently adopted a stance in support of gay marriage. The Scientologist also informed me of some Jews she knows that practice Judaism and are Scientologists, which makes it very unlikely that they are Orthodox Jews. However, all this is just deception by Scientology. Scientology is more associated with Eastern philosophy, if we should call it that, than any form of religion. In fact, Scientologist books even admit to their Far East origin in church writings. Scientology insists man does have a spirit, but practically ignores the concept of God. They'll say, oh yes, of course there's a God, and they'll have problems with atheists, but essentially they don't really talk about God or care about God. Though they insist that there is some kind of God, of course. It perhaps can be best described as a self-help cult. The IRS even fought the Church of Scientology tooth and nail to try to deny it tax-exempt status as a religion and a church, but eventually gave up. Some speculate because the government cannot afford all lawsuits, and it would tie up all its resources simply trying to fight this. So they threw up their hands and gave them tax-exempt status. In fact, there's a huge video of them celebrating it, all choreographed and whatnot, with their president of the church there celebrating and everybody's singing. Anyway, there's also a alleged report online where the Church of Scientology answers questions from the IRS, saying they expect members to follow Scientology scriptures to the exclusion of other religions. Although they say you can still attend it, pretty much you have to keep your faith in what you actually believe, strictly Scientologist, and you can't do any mixing or anything like that. Also, Scientology believes in reincarnation. This concept is completely foreign and actually rejected by Christianity. Many of the early church fathers explicitly rejected it, and the New Testament doesn't allow any room for it. In fact, higher-level Scientologists, since they believe in Scientology, in reincarnation, that is, or the transmigration of the soul, the idea that when you die, you'll get another body and be human again, and it might happen over and over, just like in Buddhism or Hinduism. The higher-level Scientologists who join their clergy class or priesthood, however they call it, however you want to call it, called the Sea Org, they must sign a billion-year contract, meaning that they agree that when they die and reincarnate into another body, they will continue their work to advance Scientology. Now, finally, why a Catholic or any Christian can't join the Church of Scientology or shouldn't join the Church of Scientology is because of L. Ron Hubbard's, their founder's, own son, L. Ron Hubbard Jr., who renamed himself Ron DeWolf, describing his father, and this was about in the 80s, since Ron DeWolf, L. Ron Hubbard Jr. died about 30 years ago, said that his father, the founder of Scientology, was involved in drugs, black magic, the occult, and Satanism. That's all sounds crazy, and I agree, but he really said these things about his own father. We can listen to it right here on YouTube.
Why did you leave the church? Because of these allegations, these things that you...
No, well, I left the church for a whole wide variety of reasons. It isn't a very simple answer. I left because my wife wanted me to, and also because I wasn't making any money, because all the money flows, of course, to my father, always has. I was also tired of the fraud and the deception, plus his deep involvement in personal use of drugs on himself and others, black magic.
When you say black magic, what are you talking about? I mean, some of the things that I read in the stack of material, it sounds just absolutely unbelievable. What are you talking about when you say this?
Well, the funny thing is that the actual truth is about as far out as Scientology itself. Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers that he felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley, and through putting himself in deep hypnotic trances and the use of drugs on himself, he wanted to become the most powerful being in the world.
Did you consider all of this a religion? Do you now?
No.
Why not?
Because it's a business. It always has been. I was one of the incorporators of one of the original church organizations, and we incorporated just because the AMA and the IRS were giving him a lot of problems in the early 50s.
So anyway, that's L. Ron Hubbard's own son, who was actually one of the leaders of the church for a while. Eventually, he left the church and turned on his father, and he was also mad at the church for pretty much hiding his father, L. Ron Hubbard. So anyway, his own son says his father was involved in black magic, the occult, drugs, and all these other crazy things. So, decide for yourself, is Scientology a religion? Should it be treated as a religion? Is it a cult? Anyway, this is Bro Haile Selassie, the Orthodox Catholic one, here on YouTube.